Hello and welcome everybody. Namaste to all. Namaste Arjun Bhaiya. Welcome.
Namaste, bhaiya.
Namaste. Namaste. So welcome again all the family members in this family reunion on our weekly follow-up session on UHV module 1. And it's good to see that many of us have joined early, and as we are discussing gratitude and love, today we will continue that. So I would like to invite our course person and course explorer for the session, Arjun Bhaiya with us. Arjun Bhaiya, over to you. Namaste.
Namaste. Welcome, everyone. Um, Last time we had discussed about love. So now we want to see how that can extend to the whole society. So, again, when we look as an individual, it is very clear about what our aspiration is, right? About continuous happiness and prosperity. And we can start seeing that even though we might have different ideas about things, we all have that same basic aspiration, and we want to be in harmony, we want to be happy, continuously happy. So when we look at the program for fulfillment of this aspiration, then we go into understanding harmony and living at all the four levels, right? So we've talked about harmony in the human being, the self and body, and also in the family, the feelings, those 9 feelings. Now we want to extend that to the family, to the society, and see what it would mean to understand the harmony and live in harmony at the society level, and what our responsibility also could be. Like, with whatever we can do, we can contribute in such a way that uh, we are able to help in the harmony of the society. So this all will be done through the same process which we are following from the beginning of self exploration. So all these are again proposals which you can verify on the basis of your own natural acceptance, not on the basis of your opinions, but on the basis of your natural acceptance. And then on that basis, you can, decide things. And if something is not clear, then you can always keep asking your natural acceptance. And at some point, things become clear as we go. So we saw that the family is a basic unit or building block, and then the society is the next, because it's a collection of many families, right? Many people together. And then when we look at the society, it's not like one chunk of things. It's composed of many families, and all those families, if you look at, they have individuals, and those individuals have that same basic aspiration. So if you see it that way, then you feel like, I also have this basic aspiration that I want to be happy and prosperous. And the other person in the society is not something very different, because we are like embedded in it, right? We are inside it. So when we look at the other person, when we see that he or she also has the same natural acceptance and the same basic aspiration, that he or she also wants to be happy continuously and prosperous continuously, then we start seeing that we are related. And then as we go through the feelings, the trust and respect and up to love, when we see, then we can also see that love is the basis for undivided society. As in, when we are able to see that love, then, you know we'll feel like doing whatever we can do with the other person. Whenever we have an interaction with the other person, we have that feeling of love, then it automatically leads to doing the right thing for yourself also, and for the other also, and for the society as a whole also. So we can see that love is the basis for this undivided society, where all our opinions and prejudices and all these things vanish, because Vanish as in they're there, but then we're not paying attention to those. We're connecting directly with our natural acceptance and the other person's natural acceptance. And we're able to see the similarity between all of us. And therefore, whatever action we take also will be for the good of yourself also, good of the other also, and good of the society also, good of nature also. So in that way, you would take action also. So that way we can see love as the basis for undivided society. And if we look at where we are right now versus what is desirable, we can see like the difference between what we want and what we actually are right now, where we want to be versus where we are right now. So you can just see like the first thing it says families living together in a relationship of mutual fulfillment. So when we're saying common goal, it doesn't mean that everybody has to have the same opinions, the same ideas, and so on. What we're referring to is that we're able to see our natural acceptance and our, our relationship with each other in the family, and we're able to see our relationship with nature. We're able to see our relationship with the society. We're able to, see all these things. Then we have a common goal of developing the right understanding. No matter what career we may take or what ideas we may have, that all becomes secondary because our common goal becomes of understanding and living in harmony. And the second is that, in the family or in the society, people living together but not in relationship of mutual fulfillment. So in that case, it's like differing goals. Different goals are there. And it's also possible that the goal is not clear also. And the third scenario is that people are living separately, not even living together, and they're in opposition or with struggling with the loneliness if they're separate, and struggling with opposition if they're with people. And opposition can be even when you're alone also. You can have opposition to others, which kinds of disturbs you also. So that is the third scenario. So we can just look at where we are right now and where we actually want to be. So if you look at it, the first scenario we can call a society where there's harmony. And second is like a crowd. It's like somewhere where everybody's doing their own thing, but then they don't feel related to each other. And third is where everyone is in opposition and everybody's doing their own thing, but in opposition to the others, right? So if you look at our current state, we can see that it's a mix of all these three, but then, you know, largely it's not the first one. So, I mean, this is just a idea, like this is just a thing where you can take a reference point, but you can explore this on the basis of your natural acceptance also and see where we actually want to be and where we are right now, and also what we can do so that we can help to reach where we want to reach. So we'll explore the goal of the human being living in this society and the dimensions or systems required to achieve that goal, and also about the systems. The scope of the systems means the how much scope is there of these systems to actually work in practice, what is required for them to work, and all that we'll see. At a broad level, you can see that when there is right understanding and right feeling in every individual, then what happens? You can just look at it one by one. You can look at it at the individual level first. Like what happens when there is right feeling, right understanding, and right feeling in the individual? Does it make you feel comfortable within? can answer in the chat. If it makes you feel comfortable within, if you have the right understanding and right feeling within yourself, it may not be continuous right now, because like we have not reached that stage where it is continuous inside us. But then, are you able to notice what how you're feeling if you have the right understanding and right feeling for yourself and for the other, and for, you know, uh, everything around? If you have that right feeling inside you, then does it make you feel comfortable or uncomfortable, or it doesn't make a difference? Okay, so in the chat, some people have mentioned that it makes you feel comfortable. So why does it make you feel comfortable? If you look at, it's because right understanding and right feeling is helping us to be happier, right? It's leading to our happiness. May not be continuous happiness at this point, but it's definitely making us feel happy in a way that is not like going to a movie and feeling happy. That kind of happiness is different, right? That is like a burst of excitement which comes for some time, quickly comes, quickly goes, but it doesn't last. But the kind of happiness you get with the right feeling and the right understanding, that's a kind of feeling of being comfortable within, which has the potential to keep growing as we grow our understanding and have the right feeling for ourselves also, and for every other person also, and in the family also, in the society also. If we feel opposed to someone else, then that makes us feel uncomfortable, right? Like if you feel like the other person in the society cannot be trusted, suppose you have this kind of a preconditioning, then when you meet that person, or even if you're just going for a walk in the society, in the on the road, if you're just walking, then imagine what kind of thoughts would be coming in your mind if you feel opposed to the other person. And on the other hand, try to imagine what kind of thoughts and what kind of state of mind you would have if you feel like you're related to everybody else and you are part of this whole thing. So you can see the difference. Like if you have the right understanding and right feeling within yourself, for yourself and for the other, then it makes you feel comfortable. And if you have a feeling of opposition, then it may make you feel uncomfortable, right? In the same situation. So the situation hasn't changed, but your state inside has changed. So that is because right now a lot of things are dependent on our, um, like the state is dependent on what is happening outside. But if that same state is dependent only on, like if we are able to create that state inside by means of having the right understanding and right feeling, then whatever is happening outside will not really affect us, and moreover we'll be able to contribute in the best way possible for whatever is happening outside also. So if you look at your human goal as an individual, you could say that your goal could be to develop right understanding and right feeling within yourself, for yourself and for the other, right? And you can also say about your, uh, like if you look at your family, apart from right understanding and right feeling, actually even for the individual, prosperity is required, but we're just looking at what our human goal is broadly in terms of both the physical and not physical things. So prosperity in every family, right understanding and right feeling in every individual, and apart from that, prosperity also in every family, because we take a family as a unit. So then prosperity in an individual, um, like as long as you have that feeling, right, the feeling of having more than required. That is what we're talking about as prosperity. It doesn't have much to do with, it doesn't have so much to do with how much uh, in quantity, but it has more to do with the feeling of feeling prosperous. So as a whole, if your family feels prosperous, then that family also does things in a different way with such that sharing becomes more prominent than the kind of thing of exploiting or hoarding kind of thing, accumulating. So instead of that, it changes into sharing once there is prosperity in the family. So when you're seeing prosperity in every family as the human goal, then all these other things like how we see like greed and selfishness and all that would not be there, because first of all, the people would have the right understanding and right feeling. And with that right understanding and right feeling, they feel prosperous. I mean, they have some physical facility, but then they feel prosperous also. And therefore, if that kind of state is there, then you can imagine the society. There won't be any kind of feeling of fear in the society. Like right now, if we look at the society, we are the same species. Human beings are scared of other human beings. With animals, it's never like that. Like elephant is not scared of another elephant. Elephant might be scared of some other animal which causes a problem to him. But then, as a species, they're all not scared of each other. But in humans, because of the difference between humans in their level of understanding and the feeling, because of that, they tend to take actions which can be difficult to handle. So therefore, there is this kind of fear in the society. But if you are in this kind of situation where every individual has the right understanding and right feeling, and there is prosperity also in every family, that means they have enough and they feel like they have more than enough, right? They have more than enough and they feel like they have more than enough. So the feeling is important there. So once you can see that this is also there, then there is fearlessness, then there is no fear in the society. And when there's no fear in the society and all these three things are happening, then you can also see that there is coexistence. There is already coexistence, but you can see that we are not disturbing the coexistence in the nature, in the existence. So if we are operating in this mode, then we are able to recognize the coexistence and be a part of that coexistence rather than try to create a disturbance in that coexistence. So we can just ask if all these four are required, desirable, or we can leave something out, like about the individual, about the family, about the society, about nature. Can we leave any of these out, or can we not leave it out as a human goal, as part of our human goal? Or should we keep only our career as a human goal? That's the difference. Like, are we looking only in the terms of creating more income, or are we able to see that a part of our human goal is also to do with our family, also to do with our society, also to do with our nature? So are all four required, or can we leave any of these out of the picture? Okay, so in the chat, people are saying all four are required. And also, if all four are achieved, would anything else be required, or would that be enough? This is the second part, that if all these four are achieved, that means suppose every individual has right understanding, And in every family there's prosperity, and in the society there is fearlessness, trust, and in nature we're able to maintain that coexistence without disturbing it, then what else would be required? Suppose this much is done. And next, we want to look at what we are working on right now. Are we working on all four parts of these parts of the human goal? If we consider this to be, do we consider this to be our human goal for each one of us, or do we consider this to be something which only the governments must do, or the somebody else must do? Of course, the governments and all have more power, but are we able to see that like all these components are part of our human goal also? Because largely what we see is that we take the human goal, we limit it to an individual or our family most of the time, right? We limit it to having a career which pays a lot of money, plus um, a family which is a small family, and then just limiting it to that. And without the right understanding and right feeling, we're not even sure of how much money is required for us, right? And because of not being sure of that, then we don't feel prosperous also. We feel like we don't have enough. So currently we can see that a lot of situations are like that, where I mean a lot of the assumption is that when we have more money we can be happier. But if you really look at it, then you can see that the happiness that you can get out of money would only be temporary, because it can only help you to buy either sensation, or to buy something based on your assumptions, or to have some experience based on your assumptions or based on sensation. It can of course help in other ways also, like it can help you to fulfill what you want, what your natural acceptance wants you to fulfill, but that would be easy without that much money also, right? Like you can look at it, like you can just see that what exactly the role of money is and how much is required. Are we able to see how much is required for ourselves, or are we doubtful about, are we not clear about how much is required? Because that becomes a basis for trying to go in that loop, that continuous loop of trying to earn more, and then therefore work more, and therefore we don't have enough time for the family, therefore we don't have time to do the other two, the society and the nature. So that's what's happening nowadays, right? We can see that quite prominently. But if we have a balanced view of these things, then we're able to put in sufficient time on each of these four things. And that happens only when we feel like this is our human goal, not somebody else's goal, but our own goal as a human being. So next, we want to just see what would be the sequence and priority of effort on these goals. Of course, you can see that you've mentioned, right, that all four are important, and some may be working on all four, some may not be. That's okay, but we just want to see if we are able to like look at this as our human goal, or we still feel that this is something which somebody else can do because somebody else may always be there. But if everybody thinks that somebody else would do, then very few people end up doing something. So if we look at this as something which all of us can be a part of, because we are all part of the same society, and this is like a big family, world family. If we look at it as a world family, then we feel responsible also towards our family, and therefore we try to do whatever is in our capacity to do. So you can just see what the priority would be of all these goals. And if we look at it, we can see that this would be the priority if we want to have that undivided society. Because if we start from society thinking that we should have an undivided society, then that doesn't work without the individuals having right understanding and right feeling within themselves. And also, it doesn't work when the families don't feel prosperous. So, we can't directly go to that, right? We can't directly go to saying that we should have an undivided society. So, when you look at the government level or the higher bodies which are controlling the things, they can control from there downwards. Like from society level, they can control up to the individual, like certain rules and all that they can make. But then those rules would not really do like there'll be some places where the rules don't really feel comfortable for the individual if they don't have the right understanding also. So it's a mix where, of course, the support from the higher bodies is very useful. But at the same time, we can't expect that to be the only thing which would work and that to be the solution. Because even after implementing rules and regulations and all that, if the individuals don't have that right understanding and right feeling, and they don't feel like we are related to, if we don't start feeling that we are all related to each other, then the decisions we take and the actions and all that would probably be for our own benefit. What we're seeing right now, right? That it's largely for our own benefit in terms of monetary benefit or in terms of some or the other benefit which we feel is a benefit for us. So that's happening because we have an understanding of, I mean, we don't have the right understanding about this. So then we feel like we'll get happiness from other things, from collecting more money or from, uh, you know, having some extra sensation, pleasures, and all that. So because of that, we are doing certain things. So even if the society level rules are passed, regulations are passed, then it helps to an extent, but it doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't lead to the undivided society. So then we can see that, like, if we start from level one, where we're starting as an individual with ourselves, then we expand that to our family. Then over a period of time, we see that this thing is spreading across families. And at the same time, there may be regulations coming from the society side also. But we can see that, like, for the individual, when we develop this right understanding in the individual, it automatically makes us feel so much happier. And we spread that happiness in the family also. We feel prosperous in the family. And then we spread that with other families who we might know already. And like that, you can have a huge chain of things going on, which leads to the society level. So we can see the difference between what we think our goal is most of the time. Like when we are operating in the society, when we are taking decisions, when we are spending our time, then we can just look at where we are spending it, how we're spending it, what we're trying to do, and what our assumptions are behind that. Like we may have so many assumptions behind things that we do based on our thoughts, based on our um, outside things which come inside, outside ideas which come inside. So if you look at our natural acceptance, you can see that it's for the yellow. But if we see our living today, we can see that we have a lot of these questions. And therefore, we might say in theory that, okay, this yellow looks good, but then, in my practical living, what do I do? And can I do it this way? So all these questions may be coming up, and therefore we may just go for what is happening anyway, largely. So largely, if all these things are happening, then we feel like to be a part of this, we should also do this. But of course, we can explore the alternative also. And especially when we can see that the end result of the yellow is undivided society, whereas the end result of the black is a lot of problems. Problems at individual level, problems at family level, problem at society level, problems at nature level also. So you can see the huge contrast between these two, and then decide what you want to, uh, like, how you want to spend your time and your efforts and all these things as an individual also, and as looking at yourself as a member of the family, looking at yourself as a member in the society, looking at yourself as a unit in nature. So when we look at our goal, then we just want to ask if we are, like, are we asking our natural acceptance and then doing this, or are we doing this because we feel that it will give us happiness? Or there must be various reasons for it, right? That we might feel that this black would be a solution for something. Or maybe it's because we have certain assumptions without verifying, and we are sticking to those assumptions and therefore taking actions according to those assumptions. So I think one hand is raised. We can see if any comment or question or anything.
So, dear participants, dear family members, if you have any query, sharing, or reflection regarding the content what we are discussing here about the society, you can raise your hand and unmute your mic. Yeah, as we can see, we have Surikant ji with us. Ji, Surikant bhaiya, namaste, welcome.
Namaste, sir. Namaste, namaste.
Namaste, namaste.
Sir, anyway, I don't have any question, but anyway, I thought that definitely every individual should have a right understanding and right feeling for the self prosperity and happiness, and as well taking into account the whole society. When the things are not happen like this, as sir has explained very beautifully, the second column, the things will happen, those things, sir. Mostly I feel very difficult to achieve these things. That is my view, sir. It is not a question, it is my view.
Okay. So it may be, like, whether it is difficult or easy is not the question right now, but we just want to see that since we are anyway existing here, right? We are there, we are
Yeah,
doing something in our life, we're, spending our time somewhere, we are putting in effort somewhere, all that is happening anyway. So what we want to see is that, you know, whether we achieve that state of undivided society or not, we don't look at that right now. We just look at which direction we want to go in. Would we prefer to go in the direction of the black or the direction of the yellow? And if we prefer to go in the direction of the yellow, then even if we don't reach that end point of undivided society, if we reach the point where there is less of fighting, less of war, all that, then it would still be an achievement, right?
yeah, at least it
If we
must
are able
be
to,
nice.
if more and more individuals are able to see that, the happiness which comes out of sensation and the happiness which comes out of all these preconditionings and all that which we have, that doesn't last. If more and more individuals are able to see that, then naturally then the greed and selfishness will come down, and because of that there will be better distribution of the natural resources among individuals also, and that could lead to more and more prosperity in more and more families, and that could lead to a little bit less of violence, a little bit less of a lot of obsession about profit and all that, right? It could lead to, maybe not, if we see the end result, it may not end up at that level right now, but if we start working in that direction, then we can slowly start seeing how the things can transform. And we can also see this also, that once this is there in education, then it's reaching out to a lot of people who are the future people who would be like business owners and government officials and teachers and all these professions also. So over a period of time, as we develop our understanding, then it can have a large impact also. It may not have a large impact also. So right now we're not looking at the result. We just want to look at the fact that we are doing many things anyway. So would we rather go in this direction or that direction? That's just the question. And how we are we do we have enough courage to go in the yellow direction? Even
Yes,
though we
yes,
might know that it might not end up in that undivided society and all that, we can still see that this direction can lead to the undivided society. And over a period of time, it can happen also. But we can just see that it can go in that direction. And our efforts can also go in that direction.
yes, absolutely true, sir.
Because see, the thing is, anyway, we are existing right now, right? So we have a choice whether to go in this way or that way. We have no other choice, right? Either we be in the system, we are anyway in the system actually. Either we do this kind of thing or we do that kind of thing. But we are anyway doing something. So it's our choice basically, which one we want to focus on more. Even if
Yes,
you
sir.
do a mix of both, then you can still see which one gives you more of the feeling of being comfortable within, and which one gives you more of stress and tension. So that itself can help you to uh, you know
Choose the way.
take the decision of what
Yes,
to do and
yes.
all.
Absolutely true, sir.
So don't look at the end result right now. We're just saying that this is the end point of this. If we go in the yellow, then the end point leads to undivided society and love and like compassion and all these things which we actually want, which our natural acceptance is saying that we want these things. So that would be the end point where everybody is like that. But at the same time, expecting everybody to be like that will not lead to that happening. So what can we do at our level when it comes back to that, right? What can we do at our level? At the level of individual, what can we do? So we can develop our own right understanding of ourselves. And at the level of family, we can help the family to be together as one unit and help each other to develop that understanding and so on. And at the level of society also, we can continue doing these same things. But it's our choice. We can stop there or we can go ahead. We can spend our time in other things or we can spend our time in taking it forward because we feel connected to all these people in the society also. But if we don't feel connected to them, we feel that those people are outsiders, they are different, they are something else, then we don't have the right feeling for them, and therefore we don't feel like helping them also, and therefore we may not put any effort. We might just limit to ourselves. So that choice is always there. That choice is there. And even if we limit to ourselves, the more and more we develop our right understanding, the more happier we'll be. And then naturally we'll feel like sharing it. So we don't have to think like, I should do something for others. Because if you think like that, then it becomes difficult to actually feel like doing it. You'll feel like you're doing it for the sake of, because you feel guilty or something. But that doesn't really last for a long time. But when you start developing the right understanding within yourself, when it reaches a certain level, then you feel like you want to share that with others also. So you start sharing in the family. Then you feel like you want to share it with even more people. Then you start sharing it in the society. And then you all the things that you do are for these four things: for yourself, your own development; for the family, development of understanding and of prosperity; and in the society also, you start working for this state where there can be fearlessness or trust. And then you start doing things at the level of nature also, like things like this planting trees and all is something which a lot of people are doing. But when this is done along with the right understanding and all these four components, when we do all four, then we are talking about like understanding and living at harmony at all the four levels. So that way we are going closer and closer to our end goal of continuous happiness and prosperity. That way you can look at things.
Yes, yes, sir. Truly.
And on the black, you can see that, the end result is the problems in the individual also, like this depression and all that, suicide, depression, all these tension, stress. This is the problems in the individual. Then the problems in the family also, like divorce and fighting and all that, domination and all these things. And in the society also, same thing. It ends up in the form of war or terrorism or like all these kind of negative things. And if you look at nature also, it ends up with this global warming and resource depletion and the groundwater table going down and such kind of things. So you can see that the end result of the black is a state where we have the air is polluted. Not You don't have clean air, you don't have clean water, you may not have enough water, you don't have um, good quality of the food also, you don't have you have problems with dealing with other people also because you're always scared of the other person. So the black is one extreme and the yellow is the other extreme. So we just want to see where the society is going right now and where it could go. Like there are two options, right? We could either continue this way or we could go that way. So if you look at the problems with the black, right now we are going mostly in the black, but then if you're able to see that our natural acceptance is for the yellow and that the yellow will give us happiness, continuous happiness, then we go for the yellow. Right now, the problem is that we are not able to see that our natural acceptance is for the yellow, either that or we are um, ignoring our natural acceptance because we have a temptation for something which the black is going to give us, some temporary kind of happiness. So in the black, these are some of the problems. Like at the level of individual, you have health problems and mentally like mental health kind of problems also. At the level of the family also, you have some issues like divorce and all that. At the level of the society also, you have these type of things, terrorism and all that. And at the level of nature also, human relation with the rest of nature, then we see again a lot of things like the pollution and the soil fertility is going down. If the soil is not fertile and the crops are not growing, then no matter how much of money we've collected, we'll not be able to convert that into healthy food. So if we just look at all our resources in terms of money, then it doesn't make sense actually. Because suppose you have crores of money, but then the soil is not fertile enough to give a good crop. Then no matter how much money you put you won't be able to get a good crop, so you won't be able to eat a healthy meal. So that is the case right now. So after all this, the point is not to feel bad about all this. The point is to kind of wake up and see where we are going and where we can go. Because with nature, the thing is that things can reverse very fast if we stop interfering with it and if we start doing a couple of things to, get it back to normal. If you get it back to normal, then nothing has to be done for nature. It does everything itself. We don't have to do anything separate. To get it back, we might need to do something to get it back to the normal state. But once it's in the normal state, then nature has its own cyclic processes which keep going on, which keep it in order. Like, for example, if you see a forest, you don't have to do any maintenance. You don't have to water the trees. You don't have to put manure and all that, right? There's already processes in nature which handle all this stuff. You don't have to do anything. But if there is no forest and you cut down all the trees and then you put certain crops, two, three crops if you put there, then you have to do all those things. You have to put the manure, put the water, then you get the result of that. But you can see the difference, right? That the natural thing, the way things are, if we are just able to get it back to the normal system, the natural system, then nature itself has all the processes set. Like if you go to a forest, 10 years, 20 years, the forest won't get wiped out because of less water or because of something, because of no manure. And the trees will also be healthy. So, how it happens is a miracle of nature. But, since we have disturbed it now, it is also our responsibility to bring it back to normal. But the good news is that as we start trying to get it back to normal, nature itself will facilitate the process. So nature will help in the process to get it back to normal also. So all we have to do is allow it to do things, not to disturb it. So right now we can see that a lot of our thought process is about how to manage the problems in the society, how to fix certain problems. Like if we're looking at individual level, suppose somebody is obese, fat, then you're focused only on how to lose weight. If somebody's you know having a problem in the society, in the family, of not being able to um, feel related to the spouse or something, then our focus goes only on that problem and trying to fix that problem. But when we operate that way, then we see that we're not able to fix the problem also, and we are feeling depressed also about it. And that is because of not having the right understanding and the holistic vision of where we want to reach, what is our goal, and what is the goal as a human being, what is our goal. So when we have a limited view, then with that limited view, we see things, it's like putting blinkers. You're seeing only what is straight in front of you. You're not able to see anything on the sides. So when we do things that way, then it doesn't really solve the problem also, and it doesn't really help us to be happy continuously also. Like suppose we had this problem of being obese and we wanted to lose weight. Suppose we lost that weight over a couple of months, a year or something. Then that doesn't give us continuous happiness. That just feels like one of the problems that we had is out of the way, right? It feels like we had this problem that is out of the way. Now we have another 10 problems to manage. So in that way, if you go, then these issues keep building up because we are not sure of how to manage our problems also, right? But on the other hand, if we see the top one, if we work on right understanding and right feeling, then those problems uh, feel very irrelevant, or not irrelevant, but easy to handle, easy to solve also. And then we can work on bigger things also. So right now, we also have to ask ourselves how much of our desire is coming from preconditioning, how much of it is coming from sensation, and how much of it is coming from natural acceptance. So based on this, first of all, we can make a list of desires and see which one is coming from where. And then after that, you see what percentage of them is coming from preconditioning, what percentage is coming from sensation, what is coming from natural acceptance. And then try to sort out things in such a way that you can at least identify and see that the desires coming from preconditioning and sensation, whether they are going to help you to feel continuously happy or not. You can just analyze. And if not, then you can just question yourself about whether you want to hold on to those desires or whether you want to drop those desires. And if you want to hold on to them, then why do you want to hold on? What is motivating you to hold on? So, like this, you keep asking yourself questions, do this self exploration kind of process, and then that helps you to get closer and closer to developing the clarity, developing right understanding. Just analyzing these things can lead to a lot of conclusions, and it might lead to a lot of comfort also within. So the more comfortable you are within, the more you start having the right understanding. It's linked, right? When you have the right understanding, you feel comfortable because of that right understanding, and therefore you have the right feeling also for yourself and for the other, and the whole chain goes, the yellow chain, it starts. So this is what we wanted to discuss today. If there's any question or clarification, we can do that now. If anyone wants to take the mic, you can.
Good evening, sir.
Ji Anandaji, namaste, good evening. Please go ahead.
So I just need a clarity on how to identify the natural acceptance.
How to identify?
Yeah, because we are mixed with the understanding of, we could not able to differentiate some of the activities with respect to sensation and the natural acceptance. How to identify this particular activity is what naturally acceptable by myself.
You see something which is not dependent on your likes and dislikes or opinions. You ask a question which is which is not based on a specific thing or something. You ask the question based on um, your state, how you want to be. Like, suppose you ask this question, do you want to be happy or unhappy? Then what answer comes from within you?
So,
When you ask this question, like
yeah,
I'll give you some more examples, but you can
yeah,
just see like what answer comes when you ask this question, that do you want to be happy or unhappy?
yeah, happy. Yes,
Yeah, so it seems obvious, right? So why does it seem obvious? Is it because we read it somewhere, or because somebody told us or something, or is it something coming naturally from you, from within?
it's a natural process, sir.
Yeah. So at the same time, now if I ask a question, do you want to be healthy or unhealthy? Now what is the answer?
Healthy.
Healthy. Now if we ask another question, that today I prepared French fries, would you like to eat French fries now?
If I feel hungry, I will go for it, sir.
Yeah. So in this kind of a scenario, what we're doing is, if we suppose we know that this French fries is not healthy for us, then our natural acceptance is saying that we want to be healthy, right? But
Yes, yes, sir.
when we are when something is put in front of us which gives us a kind of sensation which we like, a favorable sensation, then we may feel tempted to get that sensation, and therefore we might neglect our natural acceptance. So when we do that, we are not listening to our natural acceptance because we don't have the discipline or the kind of the right understanding to do that. So we're ending up going for a something which is tempting us, but we already know that is not good for our health, and we want to be healthy. So that might be running at the back of our mind, but then at the forefront we have this thing that this is very tasty and I want to get this sensation, and therefore I'll eat this food. So this is an example of conflict between natural acceptance and your likes and dislikes. So what we're calling natural acceptance is something which is natural to us, and what we're calling likes and dislikes is based on our own previous experiences also, and our own um, taste of the sensations. Taste of the sensations means not only for food, but we might have a certain affinity towards certain sensations. Like somebody might like a certain kind of food, somebody might like a certain kind of a smell, somebody likes a certain kind of a touch by someone. So like that, different people may have different kinds of affinity towards different kinds of sensation. So when we are going for that, many times we are neglecting our natural acceptance. But when we ask our natural acceptance the simple question that do you want to be healthy or unhealthy, then your natural acceptance is giving you an answer, and it feels very obvious that you want to be healthy. But then when it comes to living, then are we able to follow our natural acceptance, or do we are we not able to have that kind of a clarity such that we follow our natural acceptance? So this is the thing, this is the difference between our likes and dislikes versus the natural acceptance. So you can't ask whether your natural acceptance is for French fries or not. You can only ask whether you like that taste or not, and that won't be about your natural acceptance. Natural acceptance is something which is universal, something which would apply to you also and to everyone also, and that would be coming from within you, and that is not guided by sensation or preconditioning. That's guided from within, from a pure part within, which is not based on your thoughts, not based on your ideas, not based on your assumptions, not based on a favorable sensation. It's not based on any kind of preconditioning. It's something which is uncorrupted by all these things. It's something very pure, which is also called your conscience. So I hope could get some idea.
Yes, sir.
Any doubt further in that?
Sir, I'll try to implement and then I'll just get a clarity later, sir. So one
Sure.
more clarity I just needed, sir. So we always have a clash in our mind. So we have been tied up with some of the activity, and we expectation. We just have a lot of expectation towards it. And by your virtue of answer, I could able to just go for it. Mostly we are tied up with the sensation. So not with the real happiness. And how to get out of from that particular sensation, because it is the one which is whenever I just have some what is called as, untowards ideas about a particular concept,
Hmm.
and if I come across that concept, that thought comes again and again, and it makes us to what? To be unhappy. So how to come out of this particular thought? I think you are able to understand my question, sir.
Yeah, I understood the question. So that's an interesting question also, that the mind, we are having this kind of a conflict within, that our natural acceptance is saying one thing, but then when it comes to making a decision, then we are doing the opposite thing. And we know that it will make us feel unhappy in the long run, and still we do it. So that is because we have tasted this happiness which is coming from the sensation. but we haven't tasted the happiness which is coming, the continuous happiness which is coming when we are not dependent on the sensation. So we have tasted that French fries before, we know how it tastes, and therefore we have an image as in we have a idea of how it will be. Like we can imagine it, right? We can imagine that it will taste like this, and it feels very nice inside when we are having it and all that. So because we have tasted it before, we feel like we want to have it now, and we are feeling hungry also, therefore we feel like we should have it. But on the other hand, like if you ask your natural acceptance is saying that not to have it. So this conflict, once you're able to just identify that this conflict is happening, then next step you can analyze the happiness which you're getting out of eating the French fries or having that sensation. So suppose you're eating those French fries, then just try to analyze your state inside while you're having it. It's giving you some happiness for sure, right? Some temporary kind of happiness. That's why you're doing it. If it was not giving that, then you would not be motivated to do that also. So just look at that sensation. Look at that, what you're getting out of it. Look at it as in experience it completely. Try to see what exactly is happening, what you're feeling inside. Try to look at yourself very closely, and then see what happens before, see what happens after. Like 10 minutes before you had that sensation, you see what was your feeling inside. During that process, you see what was your feeling. After that process, you see what was your feeling. And then over a period of time, you start seeing that this happiness which I got, I'm able to see what I got. And when I do this thing of trying to have the right understanding and right feeling, then I'm getting a different kind of happiness which is more permanent. And I'm getting a taste of that also now. So when the taste of that becomes more than the taste of this, then automatically this one drops. So you don't have to try to drop it. It will drop automatically once you get enough of a taste of the other thing which is leading to this continuous happiness. Because just imagine if you had a taste of this continuous happiness, even if it's not continuous in your life right now, if you just had a taste of it, then you would not even look at trying to get the happiness out of uh, something like that, because you know that that is going to be much more temporary, and that is like a small thing in front of what you already have. So then you're not really interested so much. But if you've not um, if you're not doing this work on this right understanding, then that becomes very primary. Then you feel like you get a huge amount of some kind of happiness, temporary happiness only, not permanent, but you get a huge rush of something, and therefore you take that decision quickly, impulse decision kind of, without really thinking or without really even asking your natural acceptance. So to transition between this state and that state, you can use various techniques like this meditation techniques and all. Many techniques are there. So the technique is up to you. But then this is the thing that you can just look at. First, look at what you're getting out of the sensation and start seeing deeply what you're getting, and also see what you're getting from the right understanding, the right feeling. Explore both of them. And then once this becomes more than that, that automatically drops. You don't have to try to drop it. So again, in summary, that just means that we can continue working on right understanding, and that would lead to a more comfortable state within.
Sir, can I just ask one more question, sir?
Yeah, the time is up actually now.
Yeah. Okay,
So
sir.
we can do it in the next session. You can ask in the next session.
Thank you,
You
sir.
can ask before we start. I mean,
Yeah,
like
okay.
when
Yeah.
we have the next session at 7:30, then at 7:30 itself, the first thing we can start with your question.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So I think we'll close now. So thank you all. Namaste to everyone. And we'll close. We'll meet next Wednesday, and you have the Friday session for health session.
Thank you, sir.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste, sir.